My name's Adele Onyango, and welcome to another episode of Legally Clueless. No, seriously, I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. Welcome to this episode of Legally Clueless, and here's what's coming up.
And interestingly, nobody ever from my family followed up, to know where is Betty. Was the operation successful? Where did she go? Nobody ever followed up. And my guardian's home is not too far from my family's home. It's a walking distance because when I came back from the operation, of course I went home to say hi and everything and to return the the borrowed clothes. So it's a walking distance. You can walk your way to my families, but nobody ever followed up. Nobody asked, where is she? Where is she going to school? Such questions. Nobody ever asked. So me, I just continue staying with my guardian. Even my mother, you see, where my mother is married is not too far from my guardian's place. You can walk or take a motorbike.
That is part 2 of Betty's story, Nkirote's story. We started it off in the last episode. It's coming up in a bit, but I hope you're doing well. If you are an OG member, thank you so much for rocking with this podcast. I have nothing but love for you. And if you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. We have so much fun here. We have so much growth here. Man, I'm so thankful for every single member of this family, new and old. I'll tell you what I experienced this weekend actually, that really stayed with me in a bit. But first, if you're new here, this particular show, which has different Africans come on and share their story, goes out every single Monday. And then on Wednesday, we have our newsletter go out, and you can register. Is it called register? Sign up. Sign up for a newsletter on our website. That's legallycluelessafrica.com. Wednesdays, we also have the Midweek Teas, where I unpack certain topics that I feel like will get you closer to your best, most liberated self. And then on Thursdays, we have For Mannerless Women. And we are going to be starting season 4 really soon. We also have to apologize because it seems like we forgot to send out one audio episode that was absolutely incredible. It's going to help you with all your money moves. It went out on our YouTube, but not on our audio channels. And we just realized that this past week. So we're going to rectify that. So For Mannerless Women goes out on our audio channels and also on our YouTube. But if you want to be on point, you want to get the episode as soon as it pops, that's on YouTube. So make sure you go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. A link is in the show notes. What else do we have? On Fridays, we have our brand new show called Difference She Makes. It's absolutely incredible because we flew in guests from Nigeria, from London, from South Africa, just so that they could share the story with you that was super powerful about how they are working tirelessly in the legal space to make sure you and I, as African women, have dignity, have safety, and everything that we need to be our best selves. So make sure you check it out. All of that is linked in our show notes, okay? Our YouTube, subscribe. Okay, so I had a really great weekend. I walked a runway for the first time at a runway show. Can you imagine that? And this was part of a celebration of International Women's Day. And so I got all glammed up. And while we're backstage, there were a couple of other media personalities. There were celebrities, etc. And some gorgeous models. Oh my goodness. Oof. Kenya has such beautiful women, And one of the personalities, Kate Actress, for those of you who don't know, she is a Kenyan actress. She has an incredible career and acts so well. She came up to me and she was like, thank you so much for your podcast. You do not know how you are impacting me. And it was just so affirming. I think I met maybe 5 other people who just spoke so deeply about the ways in which they have found parts of themselves from our shows, including For Mannerless Women, which is our newest baby. And so that is so great to know that. I'm very thankful. So whenever I say thank you for being part of this family, I truly mean it. And I'm so proud of the work that we do here. I just posted on my Instagram that my purpose is very clear to me. It's so crystal clear to me right now. Everything I do is to make sure African women get healing and thrive. It doesn't matter if it's the shows that we produce here at Legally Clueless Africa, so my company. It doesn't matter if it's my poetry. It doesn't matter if it's my films. It doesn't matter if it's, hey, even an Instagram post. Every single thing I do is tied to my purpose, which right now is so clear. And it is that I am committed to helping African women heal and start thriving, plain and simple. But speaking of healing, let's jump into because I can keep going. I can keep going. Let's jump into part 2 of Nkirote's story. In part 1, she took us through her childhood in Meru, growing up without stability, her grandma caring for her, moving in between different relatives, being mistreated and neglected, which was just so heartbreaking. And, being someone who has lost or was losing her eyesight actively. And then her teachers intervened and they just went above and beyond teaching, which was just so incredible. In case you haven't listened to part 1, it might make sense for you to listen to it first, and then you can come and dive into part 2. 100 African stories on Legally Clueless. Stories from Africa.
So at least now I started embracing the learning of Braille. And remember, also my eyes are not doing so well because that sometimes I was forced. Now you see the teachers are like, nobody's going to read for you. If you want to do the exams using print and you've refused Braille, go sit at the computer. There used to be a computer room. You sit there, they put for you the large print and everything. So I used to struggle. The moment that computer is put on, my eyes were just crying, like tearing because too much light. So my grades were still bad, but at some point I was like, no, I can do this. Now there's a friend of mine. I had made friends. That girl started teaching me Braille. She was like, after now, during preps, after we've done the assignments and everything, she used to call me and then now start teaching me. Like, this is how we write, this is how we do this. Now, I started now being interested. I learned my Braille. Pole pole. By end of that year, that is 2008, when we did the exams for the third term, I was number 3 and I did everything in Braille. So I was happy. I was very happy with myself. And at least now I saw, anyway, I can do this. So the school allowed me to go to class 7. I went to class 7, class 8, did my exams. I know from that point, I was always either number 1, 2, or 3. 1, 2, or 3. Yeah. So, after that, yeah, I finished, went back, went to high school. Luckily, St. Lucy's has a high school, so I just continued with St. Lucy's. Yeah, now from the day I stepped my feet in that high school to the last day I left that high school, I was ever number 1. Yeah, all my high school, I've never been number 2. Well, funny enough, after coming back from Nairobi, I told you I never went back to my home. And interestingly, nobody ever from my family followed up, like to know where is Betty. Was the operation successful? Where did she go? Nobody ever followed up. And my guardian's home is not too far from like my family's home. You see, it's a walking distance because when I came back from the operation, of course I went home to say hi and everything and to return the the borrowed clothes. So it's a walking distance. You can walk your way to my like families, but nobody ever followed up. Nobody asked, where is she? Where is she going to school? Such questions. Nobody ever asked. So me, I just continued staying with my guardian. She took me to school. while I was in primary, there's a day my uncle came with her wife. Her wife was from Igoji. Igoji is in Meru, and Igoji is where St. Lucy's is. So I think they were going to her home, so they passed by. So they said, "Hi, how are you?" I remember I was not even happy to see them. Like, you're just confused. Why are they here? Because at this point, they're even like strangers. So they just said hi and went. And nobody has ever followed, like, to see where did I go, what happened to me. Even my mother, you see, uh, I would say, what I would say is, even where my mother is married is not too far from like my guardian's place. You can walk or take a motorbike to that place, but she has never even one day came to see how I am doing, what happened. I sometimes I even wonder, does she know that I lost my sight? Does she know that I can't see? I don't know. I don't really understand, because even the market is the same, like the soko that you go to, Gakoromoni. That is my garden. There's some points she used to tell me she finds there are times she meets her there. She even asked her, "You can come say hi to your child. I have no problem," but she has never come to see me. About my dad, I have never known my dad. When I was born, well, I told you I found myself like with my grandmother. So, and I have no memory living with my mother. So, my dad, nobody has ever told me about him. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know whether he's alive, whether he's dead. Well, and at some points I normally tell myself maybe he also doesn't know he has a child somewhere. So we are not in each other's lives. Now, after my KCSE, I got a B plane. Yeah, now at this point, everyone is excited. My garden is excited. She's like, "At least you've not let me down," such stuff. And then we wait. You see, the way you apply for universities in Kenya, I apply. At this point, I really wanted to do education. I don't know whether it's because I was brought up by a teacher, but I really wanted to do education. And yeah, I went, applied for universities, but there's something happened while I was on my way to Kenya University placement, to make my application. Like a guy who we used to study with in St. Lucy's just called me. He was like, "Have you applied for university?" I told him I am on my way there. Then he's like, what do you want to do?" I told him, "Education, of course." Then he's like, "You have a B plane. Why do you want to waste your grade?" I'm like, "What do you mean I'm wasting my grade?" He's like, you've really passed, and you see, for now, persons with disabilities, the entry point to university is a C plus. Like at that time, once you get a C plus, they allowed you to get to university. So he's like, "You've really passed. You've done so well. What do you have in English?" I'm like, "I have a B." Then he's like, "Why don't you want to do law?" Me, I'm like, "You think I can do law?" I told him, he said yes. Then I told him, "Let me think about it." Then also another teacher used to like mentioned when I went for my results, mentioned to my guardian that she should do law. I find she really likes to talk, Nini, those things, and I think she would do great in law. Then me, I'm like, what are these people talking about? I want to become a teacher. So it happened that so many people mentioned law, such that at the time I was applying for my university, I chose law as my first option. So I chose law, I chose education, I chose journalism. I don't know what I would have done if they took me for journalism. But yeah, so luckily when I went to COOPS, that is Kenya University Placement, Kenya University and College Placement. I guess that is what it stands for. The lady there really liked me, like the person who was in charge, she really liked me. She was like, "Oh, which university do you want to go to?" Those things. I applied, and then she was like, Once the everything is done, we are going to call you." So me, I went back home. You remember I've come to apply in Nairobi, so I went back to Meru. So after some point, they called me and they were like, "You've been placed in Moi University School of Law." So I'm like, I was very happy. My guardian was very happy. But now I was worried because of the distance. You see, it's Meru and Eldoret. So I asked her, can we have me to Nairobi, University of Nairobi? Then she was like, no, Betty, go to Moi University. I think this is going to work best for you. I have never understood why she said that, but it turned out that Moi was the best option. Was the best option for me. So even my guardian was opposed to changing universities. She was like, "You've been called to Moi University, you are going there. Kwani you don't want me to travel?" That was her question. "You don't want me to travel to go to Eldoret?" So she was like, "We are going to Eldoret. That is where you're going, and you will manage." So yeah, now university is here, but I must mention something. In 2015, I did my KCSE in 2014. So in 2015, I used to have a friend who was my classmate in St. Lucy's. So, and at some point, she used to stay with a certain MP. I will not mention the name, in Meru. So, in 2015, while we were waiting for our results and everything, I went to visit her. So we stayed with her at the MP's home for a while, and then the MP came, or I can just mention the name. Yeah, it's MP Mpuru Abori. So he was like, "What happened to your eyes?" I explained everything. He's like, "Is there anything that can be done?" I told him, uh, "I have already done what I have been operated on once. I am not sure whether there is anything else that can be done." So Mr. Mpuru organized now for me to go to Nairobi to stay with her daughter. Her daughter stays in Nairobi. So he organized. I came to Nairobi. I stayed at her daughter's. He instructed now the daughter to take me to the hospital for checkup. He wanted to find out, like, is there anything that can be done? So he took me to, there's a KMA Plaza. There's a doctor there that the daughter used to take me to see. The doctor was like, this right eye, we can try. You see, at this time, I'm still able to detect colors. I can say this is blue, this is red. I still insist on walking alone. Well, I couldn't see clearly, but me touching a white cane, not me. I don't know. I used to see a white cane as just something, I don't know. It's never occurred to me like I could use a white cane. So I just used to navigate my way around, struggling. Yeah, but now the doctor said, we can try the right eye, considering it can detect light, it can see this is blue, this is red, such stuff. We can try and see if we can revive the eye. So in 2015, I underwent another operation to now my right eye. But unfortunately, don't know whether it's unfortunately or fortunately, it did not work. The operation did not work. It was not successful. So my eye continued being the same. And now at this point, 2015, after the operation, of course, I go back to Meru. And Mr. Mpuru paid for everything in Kikuyu. I was operated everything, but then it did not work. So I went back home. Now this is time now to prepare for university, but university is in September. So between May and September, the school, St. Lucy's High School, took me back. I was a peer teacher. Yeah, I used to teach those students. Yeah, so after now, at least I earned some money to buy myself some clothes and nice shoes to go to university. So September I go to university. I go to Moi. Um, this is now a totally new environment for me. I know nobody. You are in first year. Now, the first day of admission was something like I couldn't imagine myself being left. Of course, I am excited. I have come to university, but also I am sad. I am going to be alone. So it's a mixed emotions. So we do everything. I am admitted. The school is happy to have me. The people from administration are like, we will take care of Betty. We are going to find ways. She will just explain whatever she needs. So everyone was happy to like for me and to have me there. So I am admitted successfully. And then it comes now the time for my guardian to leave. And then I start crying. Me, I love crying. So I started crying now again. I'm like, why are you leaving me? Who is even my neighbor? What am I going to do? Now, me, I am like, what do I do? Now, you see, my guardian, she's just a typical African lady. She just stepped out, knocked at one of the hostels. And mind you, the hostels where I was placed was the ones for theirs. That is where they could find like a self-contained room for me. So she goes, knocks, finds a certain lady, and she's like, "Come." And then she brought her, and she's like, this is Betty. She's a first year. I am leaving her. I am leaving her with you. So in case she wants everything, you're going to assist her." And then the lady was like, her name is Ruth. She's like, okay, no problem. So me, I'm left with her for the year. Mind you, I'm a first year. So what do we even talk about? So I just slept through the night. At this time, NTV was doing a documentary on my story. So they came, at least the second day I was engaged. Yeah, and at some point I just got used to the university life. Now, at Moi School of Law, it's in Annex. Now, what happened? I was among the first visually impaired students to join Moi University School of Law. So, what happened? During my year of admission, that is 2015, we were two of us. There was another guy, but I didn't know him. I just met him in Moi. So, when I went to the administration, they were like, "What do you need?" At the main campus, they have blind students. So they used to have a transcriber. They used to have Braille machines, such things. So they just asked me, what do you need? Like, how can we accommodate you? So I said, I need a Braille machine. I need a computer. What else? And also now, like I was like, you engage lecturers. Of course, my materials, reading materials, all those things, the books, nini, they have to be in soft copy and PDF or Word so that I'm able to access them. So I would say more university really tried to accommodate us. Like in as much we were the first ones, so they just called the transcriber. The transcriber used to stay in Moi University, the main campus. So he came, asked us, what do you need, nini? So he always used to talk to us. If we need materials in Braille, he could provide. If we needed, after doing our exams, of course they have to be now transcribed, like written now in print for the lecturers to be able to read them. So it is the guy now, the transcriber, who used to do that. So yeah, that is how it worked in Moi. And also I really found a very good friend in Moi. Remember at first, in first year, I was worried. Like, worried, you are in a new place, you don't know anyone. You go for those orientation meetings. Maybe you're going with the security guys. Those officers, they used to really take good care of me. But now you see, you feel left out because you want to hang out with your fellows, your peers. So at some point, the school, uh, it happened that the school, now for me to be able to go to class every day, the school had to bring like some of the first year, like two first year students from the hostels where they were meant to stay to now come and stay with me now to my fourth year hostels. These were where hostels were meant for 4 years. Now they just give them a room closer to me so that they could help me every morning to school and back home, back to the hostel. So that is how I used to navigate, at least for the first semester. But now, towards the end of the first semester, I really met a good friend. Her name is Sophia, and we've been friends since that time. And this girl used to take care of me. You see, the way you go to class, she comes for me in the morning. She used to stay at well, her place was quite a distance because she used to stay not school hostels. She had rented her space. So, yeah, she used to come for me. We go to class. If I need some notes, like some materials, the books, the way the law books are big and everything. Not everything is available in soft. So she just reads for me the notes. I type them. Like, she was so helpful. I will also mention that, and also I had another friend. Her name is Lillian. Now the two really used to help me. At some point, now you see, you get to know people, you interact. I got to have so many friends, so there is no point that I felt stuck because even if Sophia is not around or Lillian is not around, there was always someone to pick me or to come with me to class. So yeah, that is how my campus happened, and I would say um, so many like during campus is when I got to learn a lot, and at the same time I would say I was not like fully self-aware because even at this point now is when I started using like a white cane. Yeah, and the main reason I use the white cane is for the purposes of identity. For me, it was like at least when they see me with a white cane, they will know I can't see. So I used it. Was like at this point you need to like accept yourself. Use the white cane because also navigating around is hard. This is a totally new environment. I don't know places, such things. So now in 2019, I graduated. I finished Moi University School of Law. Now in 2020 is now the year when I was supposed to join Kenya School of Law. I forgot to mention that throughout my academic life, I have been on sponsorship. They are called scholarships, West sponsorship. So while I was in primary, there's an organization. It's closed its operations in 2000 and I think 19, beginning of 2019. But that organization is called Kanana Foundation. It's in Meru. Used to pay my school fees in primary, and then because of course they were impressed with my performance, they continued sponsoring me to high school. So I have never had issues with school fees, and then they sponsored me to uh campus. Like they said they normally don't do that, but for me they were like willing to make an exception, so they sponsored me to university as well. You see, as much as help and everything, the government pays your fees, there's that amount that you're supposed to pay for yourself, so they used to cover that. And I would mention in university I really I really used to struggle. Yeah, my first year. Well, finances, of course. You see, the way government help delays like to disband the money, so I would find myself in trouble, especially the first and second year because I didn't have money. You don't know people, and now I was just required to survive. But at some point, I would say there's even a point in campus where I had given up. I was like, I am not doing this anymore. I am not sure my guardian knows this story. Of course, she doesn't. But I had given up. I was like, me, I felt like I was struggling a lot. And you see, you are in university. You're supposed to eat like 3 times a day or at least twice a day. And there's a time I couldn't like afford that. So me and the guy I told you we were admitted together, the one who is also visually impaired. because he was a first year and he used to stay around, like my door and then his room was the next door, I used to talk to him a lot. So he understood my situation, my circumstances. So at some point he would come, whatever he has, we share such stuff. So in, I think, 2017, 2016, the end of 2016, now that semester, I was like, me, I am done. I don't want to do this. I can't do this anymore. So I remember I went to, a friend of mine used to study in cooperative university. She she was doing her diploma there. So me, I decided to go there, and I did not tell her I didn't want to go back to school. But at the back of my mind, I was like, me, I'm not doing this anymore. I was really struggling. Well, I was just messed up. So many things were happening in my life at that time. So there's a day I think now the guy, that guy who we were admitted with in Moi, he knew Andrew Ochieng. Andrew Ochieng saved my life. Like, Andrew Ochieng, the reporter, he at that time used to work for NTV. So because he understood my situation, like, that guy called Andrew and he was like, Betty, I think Betty is not coming back to school. This and this is happening. So Andrew, remember Andrew is the one who was working on my documentary, my story. So Andrew called. He was like, what is going on? What is happening? So me, I just explained to him what was happening. I was not at a good place with my guardian. I don't think I'm in a position to disclose the details, but I was not doing well. Like, even I did not feel supported or such stuff. And then I felt like I did not have anyone to talk to, such things. So my life was just difficult. So I told Andrew, I don't think I'll be going back to school. I don't know what I am supposed to do. I explained to him. Then he was like, what is the problem? I said, I really struggle a lot financially. At times, I don't have food, such things. Then he's like, you don't worry. I'm going to send you the fare back to Eldoret. And then myself, now him and his girlfriend, uh he's at that time Beryl, she's also a reporter. We will, and I knew Beryl. She's like, he was like, we were going to be sending you some amount for upkeep every month. You just go back to school. So Andrew sent me fare. I went back to Moi, continued. And after now Andrew came into my life really changed. You see, those times when you're waiting for help, at least I had money. He used to send me money every month. At some point the school took us, like, we were told to get out of the school hostels. Andrew was like, look for a house, I'll pay. Like, he used to pay my rent, he used to, like, everything. He took care of me. I would say he took care of everything while I was in campus. So that is how I survived campus. 2017, 2018, 2019. Then 2020 came. Now, remember, the organization that used to sponsor me in campus was closed. Like, it's closed its operations in 2019 at the beginning. So they paid the school fees. The school fees for the last semester, I talked to my guardian. I also talked to Andrew. So I got the money to pay the fees for the last semester of university. So in 2020, I am here. I'm supposed to go to Kenya School of Law. Kenya School of Law is really expensive. Like, it's 190,000. Like, you pay 145,000 for now the Kenya School of Law, and then you pay 45,000 to the Council of Legal Education to do your exams. So that amount, hey, 190, like, where was I going to get 190,000? So me, I had already given up the hope of going to Kenya School of Law. Of course, I talked to my guardian. She was trying to talk to some people here and there to see whether we can get scholarship or someone to just help me. But now admissions normally happen in January, and I remember it was almost towards the end of January 2020, and I did not have, you see, even the hope of joining the school. Me, I was like, I used to talk with my friend, my best friend Sophia. I'm like, I don't think I am joining Kenya School of Law. She was also having problems with finances, so at least her sister organized for fundraising, so they were able to get the first money, like the first 70%. So me, I'm here. I'm like, hey, are we going to KSL? So at one day, me, I believe in miracles. One day, it was just on a Friday. I was staying at one of my sisters in Zimmerman. So I decided to go to Vincentian Prayer Center. So me, I went and prayed and prayed, and after the prayers, I go and I talked to the priest. Then I explained to the priest my problems, and then the priest was like, "God is going to provide and everything." So remember, this is on a Friday. I came back to Nairobi. Then yeah, stayed the night. Then on Saturday, now these are like the last days. The registration to Kenya School of Law was about to close. So on Saturday, I'm just lying on my bed. I am crying. I don't know, like, Kenya School of Law is just about to close its registration, and they don't have any money. So my friend texts me on WhatsApp. She's like, now this is my friend Sophia. She's like, there's an advocate who is sponsoring, who is looking for someone to sponsor in Kenya School of Law, and she wants people to apply. You tell your story, and where that, and then they consider your story, and then maybe they will pay your fees. Are you interested? I was like, yes. Then she's like, okay, I'm going to apply for you. So Sophia applied. She's the one who sent the email. Now, of course, she knows everything about me. She knows my story. She just wrote a very good story, my story and everything. And then the advocate was so impressed. Like, her name is Eunice Nganga. She was so impressed. She was so happy with my story. Then she's like, she responded the same day. She's like, send me your transcripts. So me, I just sent her my transcripts. Then later on that day, she called and told me, guess what? I am sponsoring you. Like, it is you that we are taking to Kenya School of Law this year. Hey, I was so happy. Yani, I've never been happy in my life. Like, something I was at the verge of giving up. Like, I was like, this is gone. But now I get a scholarship. So she paid everything. She paid the school fees, the whole amount. So me, my work was to go to go to school and study. Yeah, that is how miraculously I joined Kenya School of Law. Now, the problem was finding where to stay. I remember I had talked to my member of parliament back in Meru. I had explained to him that I am having issues with raising school fees and everything. So he was like, "Well, the CDF, we are going to give you 50,000." And you see, I need 190,000. So that is why I was never settled. So the CDF is going to give you 50,000. And I don't know what happened. After I left his office, he was like, and I'm also going to give you 50,000 from my money. So he now at this point, CDFs take long. So that is why I would say I was giving up on KSL. It was 100,000 and you need 190,000. So what happened now, after I joined Kenya School of Law, I contacted him. Luckily he sent me the 50,000. So this is the money I used to look for a house, buy like stuff to start life with, a mattress, a gas cooker, those things. Like, I used that money to buy those things. And then yeah, school started. And Rocheng at this point had left Kenya. He's currently in UK. So he used to send me fare. You see, I used to stay in Rongai, or I stay in Rongai. Like, Rongai is closest to Karen, where Kenya School of Law is. So he used to send me money now to go to school every day and come back home, such stuff. And then now after that, at least I was settled. But I would say 2020 was my hardest year, because that year, remember, well, Kenya School of Law is really, really tough. So we've just joined Kenya School of Law. You are supposed to do 9 units. Of course, I am a special student, so most of the materials are in hard copy. And also the program is, well, that program is just crazy. Like, you have classes from 9 to, if you're in the morning classes, you do 9 to 1. Then from 2 to at least 4 or 5, you have your group discussions. And then after that, I'm supposed to travel back to Rongai and prepare for the next day. So it was really crazy. It was tough. Tough, 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 tough. And then now what happened at this time, I think I started getting depressed because there's a lot going on. Schoolwork is a lot. You go to class, this lecturer is saying, read this, the other one, read that. Like, some materials are not available. So I really used to have a lot of stress. And already the rumor around is KSL, majority of people don't pass. Like, a big percentage you fail, you have to repeat some of the courses. So I already have that stress because I'm like, somebody has paid my fees, I cannot afford to fail. So after that, I did January well, February we did well, March, it's when COVID happened. For me, this was a blessing in disguise. I swear I was losing it. At this point, I was losing it. I was like, you see that point where you don't want school, you know, like, too much is happening. I normally say I was depressed because I did not want to go to school. I did not want to get out of my house. I just wanted to stay in my room, sleep. When people are going to class, me, I'm left. When my friend Sophie calls me, are you going to school? I'm like, no. There's even a day I disappeared. Yeah, I disappeared. I went to a club. Yeah, that day I was really mad. Well, there are other issues which were happening. I had a boyfriend who was really stubborn. So a day prior to disappearing, I just went to one of the friends in Nairobi. I stayed there. I switched off my phone completely. So they were just looking for me all everywhere, but they couldn't find me. So when I came back to Rongai, I just packed my stuff. I was like, me, I'm just disappearing. I took some money. I had some money. I was like, me, I'm going. I went to a club. And when I went to that club, at the back of my mind, I was thinking, I go there, the person I find there, I will just go with them. If they ask me to go, we just go. I don't want to know where we are going. I am just going to disappear. So at that point, luckily, when I went to that bar, it's a bar in Rongai. I found some policemen there. At that time, I was not so happy with them because they were taking care of me like I'm a child. Like, what do you want, madam? They go bring food. They go bring any, and they made sure I did not take any beer and did not go upstairs where people were taking drinks. After eating, he was like, call the person who brought you or call a cab to take you home. So that is how my plans ended. So I went back, continued being depressed. I did not go to school the following day, just continued to be there. Luckily, COVID happened. And I took a breath after COVID happened. Of course, everyone is supposed to go to their home. I did not want to go to my home. I, I told my people I'm going to stay in Rongai, but now my guardian has 4 daughters. Now the elder sister called and she was like, "What do you think you're doing, staying there? What do you think mom is feeling?" Such things. So she talked to me, and I stayed in that house. I was not eating. I was not doing anything. I was just sleeping in that house. So one day she's like, "There's a car in Nairobi." My guardian now, my mom, had come to for a checkup in Nairobi. You will go back with that car. So go to Zimmerman. They are going to pick you, and you go to Meru. So me, I went home. I used to lock myself in a room, cry the whole day. no reading. I would like my life was just, I don't know, it was just a mess. So I used to cry, lock myself in a room, did not help with anything. This time my guardian is in Nairobi. The other sisters, we are with them in Meru, but now I did not help with anything. I was just mad all the time. I disconnected from WhatsApp, like I uninstalled WhatsApp, everything. I did not want anything to do with anyone. So I just stayed. I could just cry. But now at some point, this is where now I could say I got the light. And also the classes had stopped. So there's no reading, there's no nothing. So at some point, I used to listen to things on YouTube. Then as I heard a certain lady talking about things that get them going, such things. They mentioned Super Soul Sunday, the show by Oprah Winfrey, and then there's another podcast. So I started listening to those things, and it was through that I discovered a book that is called "You Can Heal Your Life." And then I started reading that book. I started listening to that book, reading that book. And then, yeah, I would say that is how I started recovering. After that, now the school now started online classes at around June, July of 2020. Now I went back to Rongai so that I can attend my classes and everything. So we did the program. I continued well. And then at the end, now the following year, you see, now the COVID had already like interrupted the program, so our exams were happened in June of 2021. So me, I just sat for my exams. CLE was able to accommodate me enough. I did my exams, and luckily when the results were out, I passed all the units. I got all my 9 passes. Yeah, after that, another requirement before you get admitted now to the bar as an advocate, you are supposed to do your pupillage. Now, yes, I looked for pupillage. I was lucky enough to get a law firm, a very nice law firm, and I did my pupillage there for 6 months, and I did my holding over there also. So in 2022, yeah, I finished everything. I cleared with Kenya School of Law. And in May 2022, I was admitted to the bar as an advocate. Well, right now, I'm a legal assistant at the National Council for Law Reporting, Kenya Law. Yeah, I do most of my work involves research. I am a legal researcher. That is what I normally do there. Well, I would say if you have a child or if you know a child who is visually impaired or has any kind of a disability, the best thing you can do to that child is support them. Well, I normally say to myself that if if my teacher, if my guardian never took me in, I don't know what would have become of me. Most probably I would have just perished in the village. You see, you can imagine being blind in the village and where nobody like is concerned or nobody cares about you, like in my case now, my family. So maybe I would have perished. Maybe I would be having like 10 children right now. You never know. So the best thing you can do, support them. You don't have to have the financial ability. You just take them in. Imagine at some point, as long as there's potential, someone always comes through. Like for me, like I wouldn't say my guardian has a lot of money, but you see, by her taking me in, so many things just happened. I got everything. I would say I have never lacked school fees. I have never lacked. At every point, God provides. So just take them in, support them. And then also, if you are a person with a disability, the best thing also you can do to yourself, don't give up and don't hate yourself. You see, for me, one thing I thank myself for every time is I say to myself, thank you for never giving up, because a lot was happening and I could have easily given up. Like, you're like, do I have to do this? Like, do I have to go to school? Do I have to work hard? No, never give up on yourself.
Catch more African stories in the next episode of Legally Clueless. What an absolutely powerful story, my goodness. It's stories like this that really remind me of the power of storytelling, the power it has to make us more empathetic and more understanding of people's whose life journey is completely different from ours, you know? One of the major things that stayed with me from her story is that so many miracles in her life came through people, and people who weren't even her family, right? So her teacher, who became her guardian. Can you imagine somebody going above and beyond like that? The friends who helped her learn Braille. The uni friends who read her notes when the textbooks weren't accessible. The journalist who stepped in when she was struggling financially and she was like almost dropping out of university. A stranger who advocated for her, you know, and paid her entire Kenya School of Law tuition. How powerful is that? There is, and it's something that I always say, there is no shortage of good people in this world. The bad ones are just pretty loud. They're good people who come through. Like, I've seen it in my life. Like, the people who have come through for me, they didn't even have to, you know? There are moments where there are people who showed up and they were not even family, right? They were not tied to me in any way, shape, or form. I've had strangers show up for me in moments where I needed it. There are still good people in this world. Very many of them. The bad ones are just pretty loud. But I'd love to know what you connected with in Nkirote's story. Now that we've heard part 1 and part 2, please drop a comment. I love reading your comments. In fact, one of my things I'm looking forward to do this week is to respond to all of your comments. Last week I had my uncle's funeral, so it was a bit hard for me to keep up, but ooh, I'm back. And I can't wait to dive into your comments. So wherever you're listening to this on, let me know what you connected with in the story. And if while listening to her story, you feel the nudge to want to share yours as well, you're African, you've got a story, we want to hear it. All you have to do is fill out our storyteller form. It is linked in the show notes, and one of our correspondents will get back to you. Oh my God. I love hanging out with you every single week. I really do love it. As always, thank you so much for listening to this episode to the very end. And I truly believe that you have every single thing it takes to heal. That's it for this episode of Legally Clueless. You can share this podcast with your friends. You can keep it for yourself. I'm not judging. Just make sure you're here next week for the next episode.